to Crazy Little Book Page, where I talk about books and the pages in them. So this is going to have a lot of books, because I think this is probably my biggest haul I've had on this channel, so I'm just going to get right into it. But first I'm going to go through my January wrap-up, what I read in January, and the ratings that I rated them. So let's just get down and dirty. This is my Monday Monographs video series and Monday Mentions. Monday Monographs is going to be my end of the month wrap-up and my TBR, or not my TBR, but the haul that I received that month. So, without further ado, the first book I read in January was a book that I carried over from December, and that was Every Last Lie by Mary Kubica. I rated that 4 out of 5 stars. I'm not going to get into what these books were about, because if you've seen my other videos, you already know what these books are about, except for a couple that I haven't featured on my channel yet. So, the second book I read in the month of January was The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, and I rated that a solid 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read in the month of January was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars, which you probably already would have known if you had already seen my prior video talking about it. The next book that I read was Lair of Dreams, and I rated that 5 out of 5 stars, and that's the second in the Diviner series by Libba Bray. And the fifth book I read in January was Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray, and January Lavoie is the narrator, because I read it on audiobook, and I rated that 5 out of 5 stars. And the last book I read in January was a book that I had for review from NetGalley, and that was 50 Oregon and Washington Hikes with Kids by Wendy Gorton, and I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. So with that, let's get into my January book haul. The books I'm going to go through first are the ones that I got in Texas from my mother-in-law, and the first book I got was A Prayer for Owen Meany by John Irving. I have no idea what most of these books are about, so I'm not going to get into a synopsis of them, but they're all books that I have talked about with my mother-in-law that I have wanted to read. The next one I received was Skinny Bitch, Ultimate Everyday Cookbook, and that's a cookbook, so I'm excited to try some of the recipes in here. I also got Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Your Fear, and that is by the same author of Eat, Pray, Love, Elizabeth Gilbert. I'm excited to read this because I loved Eat, Pray, Love, and I really like her style of writing. It is a non-fiction book, but to me that doesn't matter as long as it is nicely written and can capture my attention. The next book I got was called Stand Up for Your Life by Cheryl Richardson. It doesn't have a dust jacket. I have no idea what this book is about, but it is a self-help type book, so I'm kind of interested to read that. The next book I got was David Baldacci's Memory Man. I'm not sure if this is a next in a series or not, so I'm going to look that up before I read it, because I do know some of these books that I got are part of a series, and I don't want to read the books that I got before reading the next, or the first in the series. So if this should be a book that's in a series, I'll end up probably getting the other books either from the library to see if I like them first, or I'll buy them. But David Baldacci is pretty guaranteed that I'll like him writer, so I probably will just pick them up if it is in a series. The next book I got was The World According to Garp. Now, I've read this before. It is another John Irving book, so I'm excited to read this again because I did enjoy it the first time. That's why I'm excited about the Owen Meany book, because I know I like John Irving's writing. The next book I got was The Citizen's Almanac from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. My mother-in-law and father-in-law really want my husband and I to become Americans, which may or may not happen. I mean, I love Canada, but I would love to be close to them because they live in Texas, and I would love to just live there forever and ever. So I have that as well. I'm going to read it because I have an interest in U.S. history and history in general. Okay. Let's see if I can get this down without it falling. Okay, so the next two books are parts of a series. I don't know which ones come first, so I'm just going to read them. There is John Jakes' Love and War, and when my mother-in-law was telling me about this, I was really interested in it, so she gave me this series. She had all three of them, and I'm excited to read them. So that is Love and War by John Jakes, North and South by John Jakes, and from what I understand, this is about the Confederate War. So when America became the Union, or when they were leaving the Union and becoming a country. That's about as much as I know about this book. And then there is, it's on the other pile, so I'll get it in a minute, Michael Crichton's State of Fear, Robert B. Parker's Blind Spot, Track of the Cat by Nevada Barr, and I know this is part of a series, so I'm going to get the other ones before I read this. Another one that I was really excited about, and that actually just came out in November, is River of Time by Naomi Judd, and I am really excited to read this memoir because it is about depression and anxiety and her journey into it and how she came out of it. So that really interests me a lot. So I'm excited to read that. And then I got a book of useless information by Noel Botham and the Useless Information Society. So that, I just like random trivia, so I'm excited about this. Skinny Bitch in the Kitsch is another one of those Skinny Bitch books, which I'm excited to read. I got this one at a little used bookshop in Portland, Texas. When we were there, I was looking for it at Barnes & Noble, and then I found out that it only came in ebook copy in January, and I was really sad, so my mother-in-law took me to this little used bookshop and bought me Stephen King's The Eyes of the Dragon in the green hardcover, and I do believe this is, yes, this is a first edition of Eyes of the Dragon, so I'm so excited about that because it is literally in mint condition. Not even a scratch on the cover, so I'm excited about that. I haven't started reading it yet though. And the next couple of books I got from my mother-in-law was another book in that series, the North and South trilogy. So North and South is the first one, and then the Love and War is the second, and then this is the epic conclusion, and that is Heaven and Hell by John Jakes. Then I have Karen Slaughter's Faithless. I've never heard of this book, but I like Karen Slaughter's writing, so I'm excited about this book. And then I have Kathy Reich's Break No Bones from the Temperance Brennan series, so I'm excited about that. There are other books in this series, and I do plan to get all of these books, so I will get those before I read this one. And then the next books I got were books I was either won in a giveaway or I bought myself. The first one is Ready Player One, the movie cover edition, because I really, really wanted it. I got this at Barnes & Noble while I was in Corpus Christi, Texas, and I just saw it, and it is much cheaper in the US than it is in Canada, so I picked it up at Barnes & Noble when I was there. The next one I won was a book from a giveaway in the American side of Goodreads, and the only reason I entered these is because I do have an address in Corpus Christi, Texas that I stay at 6 months out of the year, and I knew I was going to Texas soon, so I entered a couple of giveaways, and the next couple of books I talk about will be giveaways from that. Other People's Houses by Abby Wexman, the author of The Garden of Small Beginnings. This is on sale April 13th of 2018, and I am very excited for this book. I liked the premise of it, so I entered it. This one is one that I am very excited about. It actually just came out as of today, the filming of this video, and it's The Next Year in Havana by Chanel Clayton. It's about a girl who is from Havana in 1958, and then her granddaughter in 2017. So I'm excited for that book as well. Like I said, because I like other cultures and their history, and I'm just excited to read it. The next book I have here is Mrs. by Caitlin Nancy, and I believe this is a finished copy that just got published. Yes, February 2018. So it is a finished copy. It doesn't come out until the end of this month, but the publisher was nice enough to send a finished copy. So that is very exciting to me, and I'm very excited to read this as well. It is a book about a woman in New York's Upper East Side. She married this Scion, and so a childhood acquaintance comes into her life and has a very explosive secret about the main character's single days, and a newcomer named Minnie Curtis, whose vast fortune and frank revelations about a penurious upbringing in Spanish Harlem put everyone on alert. So I guess this is about a woman in New York in, I'm going to say the 20s, if it's talking about Spanish Harlem. So I will let you know what this book is actually about when I have read it, which I hope to be soon. I'm hoping I'll read this month because I did highly anticipate it for this year. The next book I got was from my church pastor, and it's called Dare to Discipline by Dr. James Dobson. It's not actually about what you would think discipline is actually about. It's about raising your children to be disciplined and to have manners. It's not about spanking. It's not about a book about harsh discipline. It's a book about gentle discipline and bringing your kids up to be well-rounded individuals. So that is a book I'm interested in reading because I'm always interested to hear about new discipline techniques that work for other parents as a parent myself. So the next book I got was a Goodreads giveaway from Canada, and that is called The Wife's Tale, A Personal History by Ada Edemariam. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. The book comes out on February 27th of 2018, and I just really liked the premise of this book. I don't really know what it's about, but from the short synopsis on Goodreads, it sounded interesting, so I entered the giveaway. And the last book is a book that I bought, and that is the next in the Wonder Woman Warbringer series. It's the DC Icon series, and it is Batman Nightwalker. And the next book comes out in May, and that's Catwoman, Soul Stealer. These are all written by different authors. Lee Bardugo wrote the Wonder Woman one. Marie Lu wrote the Batman one. Sarah J. Maas wrote the Catwoman one, and the one coming out in 2019, Superman, is by Matt Dillapina. And with that, I will catch you guys on the flip side, and thank you for watching. Oh yeah, and before I go, I love this shirt. I told my mother-in-law, I really like your shirt and I really need one of those, so she gave me hers. It says Tech Zen on it, and on the back it says, Namaste, y'all. So cute. I love it. My mother-in-law is amazing. I just love her. As you'll notice, I'm wearing little shell earrings and a sharp tooth necklace. I am totally a implant to Texas now, and I love it. So I'll see you guys next video. Bye!